Welcome to the Liberty Free to Be podcast. I've had the pleasure of connecting with women from all over the world, and I'm constantly left feeling uplifted by their stories, their attitude and zest for life. Whenever I'm having a wobble, they've been a great source of encouragement. So I wanted to create a space to not only share their stories and amplify women over 40's voices, but also share my own passion for living a fulfilled life with freedom. Join me as I share a fortnightly dose of midlife motivation, where you get to hear from some amazing people who are leaving a trail of inspiration along the way, breaking down midlife stereotypical barriers and proving it's never too late to find new passion and purpose. Think of it as your one-stop shop full of real stories you can relate to, lifestyle inspiration, practical resources, from health and wealth, mindset to menopause, reinvention to rebellion. No subject is off limits. Living a life of liberty, free to be, whatever we want to be in midlife and beyond. So welcome back to Liberty Free to Be, and I am so excited to be back recording this podcast, and I can't think of a better way to kickstart the series than talking to the one and only, the fabulous Siobhan Murphy, otherwise known as Interior Curve. So thank you so much for coming today, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so nice to be here with you, and I've been wanting to have this conversation for a long time. We've got a lot to talk about.
We have. How long have we got?
We first met, I was thinking about this on the way here, we first met at your mood boarding event at
Oh
Red
my
Brick Mill.
gosh, yeah, that was quite a good few years
Yeah,
ago
it
now,
was,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
And since then,
Yeah.
a lot has happened to you and your career.
Yeah, it really has, yeah.
So before we get started, how do you describe yourself in 3 words and why?
So, in 3 words, which is very difficult, I think, because, you know, I'm all about more is more.
Yeah.
So, you know, you give me 3, I want to take 33. But I would describe myself in 3 words as fun, colourful and creative. I think that sums me up quite well.
Perfect. And you are known for your amazing style, designing interiors, but you're also a body confidence activist. You are an influencer. You really are taking the world by storm. Really. You're now a best-selling author. More is more. Where did this all start? This love for creativity?
Well, just from being a child, really. So when I was a kid, I was always drawing, I was always sketching, I would always be drawing fashion. So I was like literally obsessed with, like sketching out women and like all the clothes. And with it being in the 80s, there were a lot of fishtails going on, a lot of off the shoulder kind of numbers. And that's kind of, I just absolutely loved that. And then I went to Leeds College of Art and I studied fashion and accessories. Which was amazing. I wasn't so keen maybe on the making side of things, like the sewing and stuff, but I absolutely loved that design, like the creativity and using colour and everything and designing fabrics. And then I kind of fell out of love a little bit with interiors. Sorry, should I just start that again?
Yeah. And
then I kind of fell a little bit out of love with fashion, and I think as well, being a plus size girl back in the day, in terms of like not much choice, I wanted to look fashionable and I wanted to wear nice clothes, but there just really wasn't anything for me a lot of the time. So then I kind of got into interiors. So I was always like decorating my house. So the first house that I bought, like when I was 21, I can remember like thinking, right, what do I want to do in the kitchen? I want to paint it orange and red. And everybody would come round, because everybody was like neutral back in the 90s. And people would be like, oh my gosh, she's painted the ceiling orange. Like, this is like blowing my mind. So I had a little foray into interiors, and then rewind like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we bought this house, the Art Deco house. I got accepted onto Interior Design Masters, and that was really the catalyst for everything that's come after. So,
and you say that all, it just rolls off the tongue. But there's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go back to being in college, because I've read somewhere that you had a real love for designing hats.
Oh my gosh.
And I think one of the quotes you said was about, everybody else was making really intricate things.
Yeah.
And you were about making really big, bold statement pieces.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which I think is really kind of says it all about the maximalist style that you've got.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I love to kind of like look around the classroom, and I can remember it vividly. Like everyone had these like maybe like, I don't know, 10 centimetre wide, like tiny little fascinators that they were making. And I was there, I'd like literally like bought like yards and yards of cinema, and I'm doing all these like crazy creations. And you could kind of just see the tutor like, I don't know what she's doing there, but it's going to work out okay in the end, which it did. And yeah, and I've done like millinery courses in Los Angeles, and loads of millinery courses over here. So yeah, and I think it's kind of a bit of a dying art as well, isn't it? Millinery. You don't really hear of many milliners, and sometimes when I say that I'm a milliner, people are like, what is that? What does that involve? But yeah, I absolutely love that. Because I love wearing hats, so it was that was always really fun.
But it was that ethos of hats meant to be worn, to be seen. But it's a bold statement, isn't it?
Absolutely,
and I think that's what you're not scared of doing, is making that statement.
Yeah, definitely. I like to stand out.
It's
always.
A shame that you lost that in the middle years, but I think that's quite a common thing. I mean, it's quite common that women lose connection with something they really love, but then they go back to it later in life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things as well was, so 12 years ago, Nick and I went travelling, and we both, we packed up. I was working for the NHS at the time. I took like a 6-month sabbatical. Nick's a solicitor. He basically just handed his notice in, and he was like, I'm just going to get another job when I get back, fingers crossed. But we just packed up and went off for 6 months travelling around the world. And I think during that time, it just gave me a real chance to pause and reflect and think about what I wanted to do, like in the future. And I think sometimes we're on this hamster wheel, aren't we, where, you know, we're either working in a corporate job or, you know, kids come along, and you just kind of, all your energy is just kind of getting by, getting to the end of the day sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas actually, you know, having that 6 months where, you know, sometimes we were literally just on a beach, you know, we didn't have a lot of money either, we were backpacking kind of on a budget. So it was like, right, okay, I'm going to like start thinking about, you know, planning. And I've still got my little book actually, where I was kind of like writing ideas and things like names for businesses. And initially I was thinking that I would do like workshops, so that would be, you know, like cool craft workshops. And then obviously like things changed, don't they? But it was just kind of, I knew that I needed to come back and do something creative.
Yeah.
So I still came back to my NHS role, but then on the side I was kind of plotting and planning and scheming to kind of think, right, okay, I need to take the hobby to, you know, to the next level, really.
But I love that, because lots of people start hobbies or are too scared to even start hobbies because they think, well, I've got time, they can't fit it in along with work. But you can do it, and you just don't know where it's going to lead to, which
Absolutely.
is exactly, you know, what you've proven.
Of course, and I think if you love something, then it doesn't feel like work. So to me now, you know, I did like 17 years or so in the NHS, and which I loved at the time, but I must admit, like towards the last couple of years, I was kind of thinking, right, I need to be doing less of this and more of the creative stuff. But now, because I'm doing this, you know, I work for myself, every day is different, I'm doing all these different creative projects, it never really feels like work. Sometimes it comes to the end of the day and I feel guilty because I think, you know, like, so I've not been doing spreadsheets or PowerPoint presentations or, you know, that kind of thing. I've been doing like fun stuff. I've been filming or creating content or doing some designs. It gets to the end of the day and I'm like, oh God, that's actually work. I've actually worked today, but that's been so fun.
Yeah, exactly. How
So it's a really, oh my God. And I think as well, being you know, in the NHS and in that corporate role for so long, now that I am doing, you know, what I should be doing, this creative kind of role, it makes me really grateful. And sometimes I kind of think, oh God, you know, in hindsight, I wish I'd have started earlier.
I say that to myself.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah.
But actually, I think things sometimes just happen at the right time. And, you know, sometimes we do, as women as well, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, don't we? You know, to kind of be the best or do this or do that or I should be doing that. But actually, things sometimes just naturally kind of fall into place.
Yeah. But there's a jump between having this hobby and really loving and having a passion for something to then saying, okay, I'm going to enter this competition on TV. So how did that even come about?
So that was, so I was on Instagram. I had about 20,000 followers at the time, and I was posting about the new house and getting all excited about, you know, the designs that I was going to do and everything. And I'd done like a couple of rooms, and I just got a DM in my inbox one day saying, hi, we are doing the casting for the next season of Interior Design Masters, and we really love your style, would you like to apply? So I'd watched all the first season, and I
Yeah.
just thought it was absolutely brilliant. So I was like, oh my God, yeah, what do I need to do? So there was forms and applications, and we had to do like 2 mood boards, like these room designs, do like an upcycle project. So it's quite an intense process, Zoom calls with the producers and everything. And then, that went on for quite a few weeks. And I was kind of thinking, like when you're just really, really invested, I was just thinking, God, this could really change things. This could be a really great platform. And I just really thought, oh, it'd be really good fun.
Yeah.
So then when I got the call to say, yeah, you're one of the 10 designers, I was just absolutely elated. I can remember going into Nick's office. He was working at home at the time. And I just said, Nick, I'm on interior design masters, and we both just jumped around the room. We were really excited, and then the reality kind of sunk in, and I was like, right, okay, this is actually quite scary because I'm going to be doing this, because for me, design is very personal. If I'm designing, whether it's for me, for somebody else, I put everything into that design, heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears, everything. And so I was kind of like, I'm going to be putting myself out there, and I know I've got quite a Marmite kind of style as well, the colour, the pattern, the maximalist style. So I was kind of thinking, it's going to be amazing, but it's, I am putting myself out there, and I just thought, please, just don't go in the first week. I thought, right, if I can get through the first week, show a little bit of what I can do. And it was really funny, actually, because in the first week, some of the feedback, I think it was Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen was one of the guest judges. And he was like, I think you've gone, a bit over the top, and I was like, oh, that was me really toning it down. Like, this is me being really, really subtle. And everybody were just laughing because they were just like, oh, Siobhan, that is so you. I was like, yeah, I know. So he was like, what, you could have actually gone more extra? And I was like, yeah, totally. This is me, like, reining it in to the max. So that was funny. And I think as my confidence grew within the competition, I kind of just thought, do you know what, I'm just going to go all out. And certainly for the final, it was kind of, right, regardless of the brief or whatever, I just need to show who I am as a designer. And I think I didn't win, but I did really go for it. I did really go for it. And you know what, everything that came afterwards, I did feel like that I won, because there was just so many opportunities, and that's just kept going really. So and I think obviously social media helps as well. So I started that competition with like 20,000 followers. At the end, I was like nearly 100,000 followers. And it was in lockdown as well when it was shown. Yeah. So I think everybody was thinking, well, we didn't really know what else to do, so we're going to watch, a lot of people got really into it. They're watching it every week. So I think that kind of worked in our favour in that respect. But yeah, what a journey, what an experience. It's just been amazing.
One of the things I really love about you is you completely own your style, and you own your personality, and you express that through fashion and through your interior design. And a lot of people are scared to do that still, that don't maybe dress the way that they'd like to dress because they're worried about being judged. Yeah. What kind of tips, advice could you give to somebody that knows that they've got it in them, but they don't know how to express it and they're too scared to?
I think it's really hard, isn't it? And I think we all go through a bit of a roller coaster with fashion, don't we? Where we're kind of on point and we're thinking, oh yeah, we're looking good, and then you kind of like you lose your way a little bit, and that could be how you're feeling, or something happens, or whatever, or you just get sick of your wardrobe, and I think we go through like peaks and troughs. But I think for me, it's just come with age, really, that kind of confidence. Yeah. It's kind of that feeling of, oh, that's a nice dress, I'm going to wear it, I don't care what anyone thinks, because I know that that's the dress that I want to wear, and I know that I'm going to look good in it. Yeah. So I think it's kind of caring a little bit less of what people think, and dressing for yourself rather than anybody else as well, for me. So, like when I was in my 20s, it was kind of, the single years, for a few of those was kind of like, I'm going to dress for men, or I'm going to dress to make myself look slimmer, all this flattering. Yeah. I hate that word. I just think, you just look less fat. Yeah. It's kind of, I hate that word. So it was kind of always like, so I wore a lot of black because I was thinking, oh, that's slimming, and rather than actually just wearing clothes that I really like.
That make you happy.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. So now, I get messages from people all the time saying, I've got this event coming up, or, it's a christening, it's a wedding, it's a holiday. I'm really dreading it. And I just think they're dreading it because they don't feel good in the clothes. And that's something that, you can actually change.
Yeah.
So, but I would just say experiment as well. So, even if still the high street's not great for plus size people at all.
It's got better, but it's still.
It's got a little better, but it's still, definitely. And the plus side, there's always like a separate area.
They're always at the back.
They're always at the back.
Yeah.
The lighting's terrible.
One left. Yeah.
The lighting's terrible. It's just a lot of big black unflattering sacks.
Yeah, changing rooms.
Yeah. So, but online, I think it's a bit easier because you can kind of order some stuff, try it all on in the comfort of your own home, try it on with pieces that you've already got in your wardrobe, and then you can send it all back for free most of the time, can't you? Yeah. So it's a really good way of like experimenting with colours, with styles, different silhouettes and things like that as well. So yeah, and also with like all this like pre-loved stuff as well. So I'm on Vinted now all the time. So
how good is it? It's for selling as well.
Whenever you like, that's all you'll be doing for the next few weeks. But it's great because then like if you are thinking you're looking in your wardrobe, and I think it's always depressing, isn't it, as well, if you're looking in your wardrobe and there's things that maybe looking a little bit sad, or things that are not the right size anymore, that kind of thing. Just get rid. So by actually just getting rid, and sometimes what I do is I'll just have a big clear out and put everything on, sell it all, and then I'll just keep that money in, and then just kind of keep like buying a few like little bits. So it's kind of just circulating really, which is really good. But yeah, just experiment. I think is the key thing.
One thing that I get from you is everything should be about joy, whether it comes to interior design or whether and it's something that I know you've said before that. You have that as a child. We have all that childlike leave the world and do everything that brings us happiness, and then we get slowly chipped away and we lose it.
It's so true.
And it's rekindling that, isn't it?
It's joy
so true. If you find a piece that you want in your house that nobody else will get, it doesn't matter. It's about if it brings you joy and makes you smile.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the same with fashion, interiors, everything really, isn't it? That kind of like childlike, playful curiosity as well, isn't it? So kids are always like, what's your favourite colour? Mine's pink, mine's red, mine's blue. Kids are like really into like that kind of thing, and drawing and sketching and painting and just kind of the wonder of the world, aren't they? And we definitely lose that. And I'm really anti kind of this whole greige kind of movement, as you can probably tell, because I just think, is that a colour that really fills your heart with joy? For me, that's like grey. I associate with like a prison cell or something like that. And I know there's always like you can have elements and stuff of grey, but for me, it's like, is that a colour that really makes your heart sing? And I'd always say that when I'm dealing with clients and things like that, and I'm always trying to just kind of pull out that kind of that joyfulness, that playfulness, and what's going to make you happy. When you walk into the room that we're designing, what's going to kind of make you squeal a little bit.
So talking of joy, you are all about colour and bold patterns and layering. So what is maximalism? How do you describe it?
So for me, it's all about having fun, and it's being playful, and it's colour and it's pattern and it's print. Sometimes everything all together. But I think considered maximalism is the key. So I think a lot of people think maximalism is just, let's just throw a load of stuff at this and kind of see what sticks. Whereas actually it's much harder to have like a considered maximalist look, because you are talking about layering, and also I think it's nice to have new stuff, include vintage and things like that as well, and also collections. So I'm a big fan of collections. I've always been a collector.
What was your first?
Some would say hoarder.
What did you collect?
Oh my gosh, I collected so much stuff when I was a kid.
Thimbles.
Oh my god,
did you?
Oh my god, that's so cute. That's so old school, isn't it? I love that. So my gran and granddad used to take me to like antique fairs and auctions and things like that. Oh my gosh, I collected so much stuff. So rubbers, stickers, you know, like the usual cards and things like that. But I also collected little like stamp boxes, mother of pearl pen knives.
Oh, nice.
I mean, just very, very, very random. So, but yeah, I always love collections. So I think as well, when we're talking about like maximalism, it's looking at, you know, what somebody's collected maybe over the years, and you know, rather than having that in the loft or tucked away in a box, which is quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have it on display, you know, something where, you know, you're going to walk past every day and it's going to be like, oh yeah, you know, you spot something different each time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like collections, but definitely colour and pattern and print and textures as well. So I did a thing for Steph's Packed Lunch a little while ago, and they took me to the house. We were doing like this VT, and it was maximalism versus minimalism, and they took me to this house which was, you know, pinned as very minimalist, but actually it was maximalist in a sense that the textures, you know, like there was so much texture to the room, so the rooms were very, very neutral in colour. But, you know, there was boucle, there was fur, there was linens, and, you know, it was all very layered. And so again, it can be that as well, which is quite interesting. But yeah, for me, it's just more fun, more colour, and more happiness.
And obviously, this book, if you haven't already read it, it's amazing. It is a really beautiful book.
Oh, thank you.
But, you know, did you have a real pinch yourself moment at the end of writing this?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So when the publishers got in touch and said, you know, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I was like, yeah, I've thought about it loads of times, but I've never actually made a start or really thought about it. And then as soon as like kind of we had that call, it was like, oh my gosh, like the floodgates just in my brain just started opening. And I just thought, right, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, then, you know, obviously I need to go all out and just showcase all like my favourite kind of designers and homes, and sharing like top tips and things like that for people. And, you know, I call it like a handbook for maximalists, but it's kind of a handbook for anybody really that's just wanting to be a bit braver, I guess, in their interior design.
And actually, it's not for me. It's as much about fashion as well. Because there's such a synergy between interior design and fashion, isn't it?
Of course.
And it is about, you know, wearing the accessories and the bold colours and the prints and expressing your personality.
Oh my gosh, that is the main. Yeah, I think that's the main thing, isn't it? I see kind of your body, your home as kind of an artist's blank canvas, and I think sometimes people do either really well. So they might have an amazing wardrobe, but they just like don't know what to do in the home, or vice versa. And I think take inspiration, you know, from either. Sometimes when I'm working with clients, we'll go through their wardrobe, you know, pick out a beautiful silk scarf, or it could be like, you know, some leopard print, or, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like, you love this, you love wearing this. Why can't we inject a little bit of this or some of the colours into the home as well? So
you've talked a little bit about, you know, when you do put yourself out there, there's the vulnerability, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I know social media's been a great place for you to connect with like-minded people. It's kind of where the journey starts.
Of course it is, yeah.
But how comfortable have you got with it? Because it's scary. There's not everyone's going to, you said yourself, not everyone's going to like you. It's Marmite. It's, you know, we've all got people that people are going to disagree with us.
Yeah.
But how have you dealt with that? Because you've kind of gone into the fame arena in a short space of time, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I speak to some other influencers about this quite often, who get, you know, like some mean messages or things like that. I mean, touch wood, I've been really, really lucky in that respect. So I think, you know, most of the people that follow me, they kind of know what they're getting. They know what they're getting up front. And, you know, I just try and always, you know, have that kind of upbeat, like kind of joyful presence really online. So I just think, you know, there's so much negativity and terrible things going on in the world. At least if I can kind of bring a little slice of joy, then that's kind of my mission really.
Well, you're doing very well.
But no, I love social media and also just certainly like for the interiors community as well. Like a lot of my friends now, in real life friends are people that I've met through Instagram.
Yeah, mine are.
So it's just really nice, isn't it? Because you've got that mutual connection kind of straight away. So I've got like 5 best friends that we've known each other since we were 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. And, you know, obviously I love them to bits, but they're not into fashion, they're not into interiors. Yeah. So actually then I've got this other tribe, this other group of friends, and we've connected through, you know, our love of cushions or, you know, something as random as that. Yeah. So it's really nice that, you know, to kind of, you know, especially like in later life as well, to actually, you know, make friends, meet new people and things like that. And it's so nice when we all, you know, like get together as well in real life. So yeah, it's been, for me, it's been such a positive, you know, positive experience really.
And talking of positive experiences, it goes on, the list is endless, but you know, you mentioned Steph's packed lunch week. It's such a shame that's ending.
Oh, I know, it was so fun, wasn't it? It was such a fun show.
Brilliant. But you know, you have been given on this morning, so presenting is another string to your bow that I bet you never imagined that you'd be doing. How does that feel, especially when it's live?
Wow, I know. Well, the first time that I did Steph's Packed Lunch, I was speaking to one of the producers just before I went on. I was just doing like a little segment, and I said, oh, what's like the delay, you know, like from when we do, and then when we filmed it to like when it goes out. So I thought it'd be like, you know, 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. And they're like, oh, there's no delay, it is live. And I was like, you know, when you just kind of get that feeling, I was like, oh my gosh. So yes, that was good. So I did like quite a lot of like studio stuff for Steph's, and also out on the road doing like little VTs and things like that, which was really, really fun. I filmed quite a few pilots as well, so that's been interesting. I'm just hoping that one of those will get the green light. I think it's a really tricky time as well in TV at the moment. So and I spoke to a producer a couple of weeks ago, and they were just finding it really hard to get things like, you know, new stuff over the line. And I guess they're looking at, you know, a lot of companies like Channel 4 and things are looking at like digital first stuff. So, but yeah, hopefully, I mean, that'd be the dream, to have my own like makeover show, or even like documentaries and things like that, you know, because I'm always like fascinated with the world and meeting people and things like that. So
I get the impression that nothing phases you, but you know, what does make you kind of think, oh, am I really going to do this? Do you ever doubt yourself?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I do sometimes. But I always just kind of like, because when I worked with the NHS like years and years ago, I was a trainer and I did like leadership training and things like that. And, you know, that was always quite scary. Or sometimes, you know, if I was doing a presentation in front of like 200 GPs or 500 pharmacists, you know, I'd always have that little, you know, that little moment before you go on stage, or that little moment where you just like, I think that shows you care. I think that shows you kind of human, doesn't it? So, and I think that sometimes makes you better. And then afterwards you're like, oh yeah, well that was okay, wasn't it? Like you never do something. I mean, obviously getting out of your comfort zone is the only way that we can grow, isn't it? But I don't think you ever do something like that and regret it, because you're always going to learn, or you're always going to have something where you think, oh, do you know what? I wish I'd said this, or I wish I'd have done that, or done something a little bit differently. But then you're just growing from that, and then the next time it's going to be better and better and better. So
I've always, you know, the last 10 years I've spent all my time stepping out of my comfort zone. It's always where I've grown. I've learned the most about myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just have to put your big girl pants on.
Yeah, it's that for me was kind of, I felt like I'd had this such a exciting, amazing experience, like living my best life every single day. And I'd gone from that to then just going straight back to, you know, working at the NHS, and I was doing a spreadsheet or something. And I just had a moment, and I just closed the laptop, and you know when you just kind of like have a bit of a think. Yeah. And I thought, right, because I'd said to Nick loads of times, like, yeah, I'm going to have my notice in this year. Or it was always like next year, or you know, this year, or you know, it was always kind of like, I've never really like put my marker in the sand really to say, right, I'm going to have my notice in, and it's going to be June or whatever. And anyway, so I went in to see Nick. And I just said, I'm handing my notice in. And Nick was like, oh, yeah, you definitely should. He was like, why, when? And I was like, now. I'm going to do it now. So I was a bit of a coward, actually. I waited till I knew that my manager had logged off for the day, and then I sent the email.
But I bet they're always surprised. To be fair, I bet they're still coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so I got a message the next day saying, oh, let's have a chat. And she was so nice. She was like, we love you, we don't want you to leave, but you wasted here because we know that you've, you know, got this, well, we've seen what you can do, like creative wise. So yeah, and it was just, never looked back. And people saying, oh, do you ever like miss the NHS? And I'm like, no, I've never ever once regretted that decision. But it is scary, you know, like in your 40s where you think, gosh, you know, I could have had a great career in the NHS, your pensions, you've got a regular income, and now you're kind of like, you know, going back to basics, thinking, God, I don't even know how to fill out a tax return, or I've got to kind of be a grown-up and do my own thing.
It's not as easy as people think.
No.
It's a roller coaster. You don't know when your next job's coming in.
Yeah.
You don't know what's around the corner.
You've
just got to have that leap of faith in yourself.
Yeah, you do.
But then look at people like Freeman's that came to you and said, do you want to do a collection? How amazing was that?
That was like an absolute dream come true.
Would you like to do more of that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to do some more collaborations, definitely now with my like wallpaper designs and fabric designs. That kind of is the direction that I'm going in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so good. Just like literally like sitting in the studio and thinking, right, well, I've got literally free reign to design like 80 pieces of decor, like the bedding, cushions, vases, lighting. So it was kind of amazing, because also what was really good is learning about like the commercial aspect as well.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, this would be amazing, let's do that. And they're like, Siobhan, if we made that, we'd have to charge like £500 a piece. And I'm like, okay, we'll just lose some of the frills.
Yeah, but it's a great way to learn.
But it was really good, because it's kind of that creativity, and then the commercial aspect has kind of then really helped me, like with my wallpapers and my fabrics and things like that, and just knowing like where to pitch stuff and all the marketing side as well, which, you know, is a big thing in business.
Brand,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Bradford.
Yeah.
So that's where my husband Nick's from as well. So yeah, that's just been an absolute dream. And even like designing like my own Christmas decorations, because I love Christmas so much. It's just it was a bit of a dream really doing that.
So what's next on the list? Because you've ticked off so many already. What's next? What would you really like?
So I'd love to do more TV. That'd be the first thing, and just launching my wallpaper worldwide. So I've already got some stockists in LA and Australia, obviously the UK as well. So it's just widening that. So I just need to have a few weeks kind of like sat down, you know, doing the admin and the emails, which I find really difficult, because I love doing the design.
Yes.
And then for me, that's kind of like, you know, that scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I know that I kind of need to do that to, you know, to grow in the business and everything. And I do want to write another book. So yeah, I kind of that's kind of always in the back of my head to do another book.
I can see you doing a fashion line with somebody.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Doing a fashion collaboration with somebody.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And I think as well with some of my my surface print designs, they would kind of go hand in hand with some gorgeous like silhouettes and things like that. So yeah, that'll definitely happen at some stage.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
A lot from travel, actually. So I absolutely love travel. My mum was a travel agent back in the 80s, So she was a travel agent, and then she, later on, she was a teacher, travel and tourism teacher. So she's just always been fascinated with travel and, you know, exploring different places. So I think a lot of my inspiration is taken from travel. You know, when you go to like these beautiful like hotels and things like that, because a hotel's always, you know, the lighting's better and bigger, and you know, it's a kind of that, you know, that grandiose and history as well. So, but I just love like that whole like Palm Springs.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Yeah, that kind of, you know, that kind of aesthetic. Yeah. So Palm Beach, Palm Springs, Beverly Hills, you know, the banana leaves and the blue skies, and you know, that's kind of inspirational. But also, like, I love Marrakesh as well. So you know, like the colours and the vibrancy and things. So, but yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the problem when you've got kind of a creative brain is reining it in, isn't it? Because I can do a mood board for a client or for me, and I'm just too inspired. I'm thinking, like, this mood board's just getting busier and busier. Like, so I kind of always start with a lot. So I might start, even when I'm doing like a mood board, I might start with like 500 images, and then it's just narrowing it down like at every stage. But I think that is definitely a problem, because I'm just like, oh, I love that. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's nice. And it's kind of like, right, okay, let's rein this in and kind of go back to the brief.
You've got a phone full of hundreds and hundreds of photographs everywhere you go.
Oh my gosh. Well, when I upgraded my phone, everybody, I was in the Apple shop and everybody was coming and going. You know, they were getting the new phone. Thanks, see you later. I'm still sat there. And the girl was like, why is it taking so long? And when we looked, I had 121,000 photos and videos on my phone. Wow. And I've probably got more now. I've just actually downloaded an app. My friend Organise, who's an organiser, she was like, there is actually an app that you can get to kind of, get rid of duplicates and things like that, because how daunting would be to go through that many. But I mean, the amount of time that I spend looking through for photos and videos and that kind of thing, actually, that's another thing that I need to sit down and do.
I think you're now the interior editor of House of Cocoa magazine as well.
That's right.
So you can get the travel.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So last year, I went to quite a few places. Thailand being one, which is just an absolute love of mine, and that was the first place where Nick and I went travelling that we stopped off at. So there's always like a fondness and a love for Thailand, and Palm Beach as well. I went there last year too, which was really, really great. I went to like the Colony Hotel, which has been on my bucket list for so long, because it's just a pink palace. So I was like literally just like walking up thinking I'm in my element before I even like stepped through into the foyer. I was like, I'm absolutely in love. And they've got beautiful like hand painted like Dagone murals in there, and the upholstery, like everything is just next level really. So anything like that just gives me so much inspiration. But yeah, I do love the whole travel, and it's so nice as well to kind of. So what I do with my articles is I go somewhere, obviously soak up all the lovely interiors, the food and the wine obviously as well. That's always a nice little perk. And then I come back, obviously write about the article, about where to go and all my top tips. But then also I do like a get the look, so how to get the Palm Beach look at home, or all that kind of stuff. So so it's just bringing it back to that interiors angle, which is really nice.
I love you've just got such a positive can-do attitude that I really hope that people that are listening can get that from you, and they take that as an inspiration, because you really have such a positive attitude towards life.
Oh,
so thank you so much for sharing with me. Last two questions I ask all my guests. It's actually National Compliment Day next week. So, and I know lots of women really struggle with accepting compliments. So if you were to pay yourself a compliment, what would it be?
Oh, it's a really tricky one, that, isn't it? I think compliments are really kind of, you either love them or hate them, don't you? And I mean, I love them. I love giving them more than even receiving. Just always makes you feel good, doesn't it? I don't know. I think a compliment to me would be maybe about like how creative I am, or my designs, or something like that. Maybe even more like, rather than like a physical thing. For me, that would be a greater compliment. Like when somebody says, "Oh my gosh, like I love that wallpaper that you've designed," or "You're very clever in terms of like your like your colour palettes and things like that." So I think that would be something nice. And obviously, like if somebody said like I was kind, or caring and things like that, then that would be a nice compliment to get.
That's so true, because lots of people automatically think, oh God, it has to be something about your appearance.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's about your personality. It's about you, and that means so much more.
Yeah.
Because we are so much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just maybe even just like like recognising somebody that's done done something as well, isn't it? Kind of like, oh, it was really kind when you did that, or that was really thoughtful, doing that. And I think sometimes that can just make somebody feel good, can't it? And I think a compliment can just really change somebody's day.
Yeah.
Got a story to tell you actually. So I remember when Nick and I, when we were travelling, we were in Los Angeles, and I'd bought these. We'd been in it was like the last leg of our trip, and we'd been in New Zealand, and it was when Uggs were all the rage, and I still love Uggs actually, they're so comfy. But I bought some leopard print Ugg boots, and I mean, literally most of my clothes, I'd been wearing for like 6 months. I only had like one rucksack, so I was kind of,
I know,
I know, it was totally different to now. God, don't look at my wardrobe now. But, and I can remember we were just walking down like Hollywood Boulevard, and this bus just stopped And you know, like when the big buses, aren't they, in America, this big Greyhound bus or whatever it was, and all of a sudden we just heard like, shh, the doors opened, there's this big guy driving the bus, and he was going, "Hey girlfriend, I really love those boots."
Oh,
that's all he said.
So
the doors shut, shh. And he drove off.
Well, I bet that made your day.
Oh my gosh, me and Nick were absolutely killing ourselves laughing, because you could just see like the people on the bus thinking, what is going on here? And then for like days afterwards, like they could be like, "Hey girlfriend," I'm like, "You like the boots?" So you know, it's kind of just like, we still like laugh about it now. But yeah, so I think sometimes a compliment, you know, just something very unexpected, and also like, you know, like if you see people walking down the street, if I see somebody like walking down the street and I think, "Oh my god, like he looks fabulous," or "She looks fabulous," I'll always just say, and even if it's just in passing, like, "Oh, you look great today." You know, just quite casual, and everyone's always like, "Oh, thanks." It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, definitely. And my last question, so liberty, free to be, what does free to be mean to you?
I think it's about just being yourself, isn't it? And just accepting yourself. I think it's taken, you know, quite a long time for me to just be happy in my own skin, really. And I think I've got a lot to offer, as a lot of people, but I think sometimes we don't always think that, do we? Or but yeah, I think it's just having that confidence. A lot of the time that comes definitely with age.
Yeah. Do you feel more confident now when you're 40?
Oh my god, 100%. Like compared to even just like more comfortable, like in my body, in my, you know, just who I am as a person. Because I kind of think I'm kind of living the life that I want to live now, and you know, that comes with a lot of hard work. You know, I've talked obviously about creativity, and you don't feel like you're working, but you know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Things don't just like materialise, do they, out of nowhere? So, but yeah, I think it's just being, you know, having that confidence to really like be yourself, and really maybe not caring as much about what people think, because you know, if you're happy and confident, you're kind of giving that glow, aren't you? That air. So yeah, I think it's a really nice way to end that, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, it's been really nice chatting.
I've learned so much, but you are an absolute joy to be around. And I know that lots of people will take some inspiration, and hopefully people will go and look in their wardrobe and add some more colour. They'll go in their homes and add some more prints and cushions, and just follow their guts feeling for what brings them joy. So thank you so much for sharing that. Welcome. I'll be back in a fortnight, but in the meantime, keep being fabulous.
Thank you for listening to the Liberty Free to Be podcast. I hope it's left you feeling inspired. If it has, why not come and join the free Liberty Lifestyle Hub over on Facebook, with over 300 women, all at different stages of midlife, making new connections and supporting one another. Don't forget to come and say hello at Liberty Free to Be on Instagram. I'd love to know what free to be means to you. If you're loving the podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, share with your friends and leave a review. Your support is much appreciated. I'll be back in a fortnight, but in the meantime, keep being fabulous.